Alright, this is the audio thing for Romeo and Juliet 4, Miss Hire's third block. I am Barry. We have Aiden and Steven on the line. Today we're going to be talking about Romeo and Juliet, obviously. Act 5. Conveniently enough, there are 3 scenes, which is the minimal requirement for this project. I'm going to be talking about, or no, Steven is going to be talking about scene 1. I'm going to be talking about scene 2. And Aiden is going to be talking about scene 3. So, without further ado, Steven, let's hear what you got, buddy.
Okay, thanks, Barry. Act 5, Scene 1 of Romeo and Juliet starts off with Romeo's servant that went into banishment with Romeo, talking to Romeo, of course. The servant says that Juliet has died, and this makes Romeo extremely depressed and angry. Romeo then goes to the apothecary to go get some poison. At first, the apothecary refused to sell the poison to Romeo, but because he is poor, he eventually agrees to sell the poison. Then Romeo leaves to Verona, Italy, where Juliet is, well, buried. This scene is important because the reason why Romeo killed himself and how easily it could have been stopped by the apothecary by not selling him the poison. The people in the scene is the apothecary Romeo and Romeo's servant. He is banished from Verona but goes to Mantua where this whole scene happens.
Indubitably.
Alright, Steven, you want to talk about why your scene is important?
Well, I think my scene's important because if just the apothecary just refused to sell the poison to Romeo, which was technically illegal at the time, he could have easily stopped Romeo from eventually killing himself, and could have gave Romeo those couple seconds to see Juliet wake up in his arms and realize that she isn't dead, and both run off to Mantua, where Romeo was living at the time.
Without a doubt. I think what would be a cool, interesting twist is what would have happened if the apothecary was not some poor guy and was actually rich and had money and refused to sell the poison. I think Romeo
If he
would
was
have
rich and have money, the same thing would have essentially happened. It would have probably given Romeo those couple seconds to see Juliet wake up. Because in scene 3, where Aiden's gonna tell you about it, he's gonna kill himself a little bit before Juliet actually wakes up. But also another major scene that happens up in scene 2 could also have stopped Romeo killing himself and causing everything to go downhill.
Oh yeah, definitely. Right, yeah. Okay, so I have scene 2, and I think I have the coolest scene because I have basically the story I feel has the most leanway. By that I mean this story could change in millions of different directions. The summary is Friar Lawrence discovers that Friar John, the messenger he sent to Mantua with a letter or however you say that, with a letter to Romeo explaining that Juliet is alive, has been quarantined because of an outbreak of the plague, the Black Plague, and prevented from leaving Verona. Friar Lawrence then hurries to the Capulet tomb because it is nearly time for Juliet to wake up. So, I think mine's the coolest because had Friar John not been blocked from leaving or quarantined, I feel like the story would have changed dramatically and that Romeo and Juliet would have had a very happy ending other than the dark, dismal ending.
Everything could have been different.
The only difference that would have brought was the only similarity, I should say, that would have stayed in was Paris dying, because he would have tried to kill Romeo, which happens in
We're not there yet.
scene 3.
Because Aiden is about to explain to us scene 3.
Alright. In scene 3, which is the final scene in the player book, it is a scene where Romeo went to Juliet's grave and told the servant to wait outside, or else he would kill him if he went inside. But when he got to the grave, he found Paris there already, and when Paris saw him, he immediately decided he wanted to fight Romeo, because he came back from his banishment, which wasn't allowed. Romeo didn't want to fight, but did anyway, because he had no choice, or Paris would have killed him. Romeo killed Paris. And while Paris was bleeding out on the ground, he asked Romeo to lay him down next to Juliet.
which is pretty messed
Romeo
up.
agreed. Indeed. Romeo agreed, and then proceeded to carry Paris into the tomb, and then laid him down, got Juliet out of her tomb, and then he held her in his arms while he drank the poison to kill himself. Friar Lawrence then came in the tomb, and found everybody dead, except for Juliet. But Juliet then woke up, and then discovered that Romeo was dead, and then she killed herself too. Then, the guards came, because Paris's servant, who was waiting outside the tomb as well, went and told the authorities that Paris and Romeo were fighting. Then the Montague family and the Capulet family arrived at the scene, and so did the prince. The prince threatened that due to this, there would be many consequences. The Lord Montague said that he would build a giant statue made out of gold in Juliet's honor, and Lord Capulet agreed to do the same for Romeo, which essentially ended their feud.
And brought peace. I think I have one of the most the coolest scene. Things up a ton. I think Aiden has one of the darkest and messed up scenes.
I think it's
Scene
one
where
of the
everyone
darkest
dies.
scenes, but again, one of the most heartwarming.
Because they all
Heartwarming.
die.
No, because heartwarming that, like, even though
Oh,
both
gotcha.
children died, they both still get together and agree to build golden statues in their honor, and
Yeah.
having the burial of, well, 3 dead, important people in this play.
Yeah, but
And you guys remember
still
Friar,
died, so.
Friar Lawrence said that Romeo and Juliet were like a prophet to bring peace to the two families.
Oh, yeah.
So I think, in a
He
sense,
said that that's why he agreed to actually marry them.
yeah, I think in a sense he was actually in a messed up, screwed up way. He was right. And Steven,
Yeah,
I think
I
you'll like
guess.
this reference. He was they were like Anakin. They were like Anakin Skywalker in a sense. Anakin was brought to the Force, bring
Solve all the
light to the
problems.
Force. He was the chosen one. I think you'd
Romeo
like
and
that
Juliet
reference
were the
a
chosen
lot.
ones.
Yes.
But too bad Obi-Wan had the high ground.
All right, Steven. Screwed.
Okay.
Well,
All right.